Have you ever wondered why the most powerful, influential, and unforgettable individuals in history were not the most liked, but the most hated? Today, we solve a hidden problem: why trying to be loved is the very thing that destroys your influence, your confidence, and your destiny. In this lesson, we turn to the wisdom of Niccolò Machiavelli, strategist of power, observer of human nature, and author of truths many fear to accept. This is not for the timid. This is for the one who seeks strength in a world that demands obedience from the weak. Understand this first principle, for upon it the entire structure of power rests. When a man wishes to be loved, he sets his throne upon shifting sand. Love, as the masses use the word, is not loyalty. It is not commitment. It is not anchored in anything solid. It is merely affection, and affection is the most fragile currency in the world. Reflect upon your own life. Think of how easily your feelings toward others have changed. You have loved those who praised you, those who entertained you, those who were useful to you. And the moment they ceased to provide what you desired, your affection faded, not overnight perhaps, but gradually, quietly, naturally. It dissolved without your permission, because love was never built upon duty, it was built upon convenience. Now imagine this instability multiplied across a crowd, across a following, across a nation. The affection of the public is like the weather. The moment the wind shifts, the hearts of men shift with it. They cheer their champion today and call for his execution tomorrow. History is filled with kings who were adored in their rise and despised in their fall. Men worshipped them when they were rising stars. But the moment they stumbled, when the illusion of perfection broke, love became disgust, admiration became resentment. Why does this happen? Because when people love you, they do not love you. They love what you give them, the comfort, the security, the hope, the entertainment, the fantasy. And if you fail to continue supplying the exact flavor of admiration they crave, their hearts turn cold. Love, in the hands of the masses, is a rental agreement, not a covenant. So the man who chases love is a man who chases approval. He lives not by his own judgment, but by the judgment of others. His decisions bend, twist, reshape themselves, not by strategy but by fear of disapproval. Such a man may appear kind. He may be praised for his compassion, his softness, his gentleness. But beneath this praise lies control. Those who give him love also hold the power to take it away. They become his masters, and he becomes their obedient servant. Consider how a ruler behaves when he desires to be loved. He avoids difficult decisions. For fear they may offend, he pardons enemies who should be eliminated. He lowers his standards so others may feel comfortable. He accepts disrespect under the disguise of patience. He sacrifices power for reputation. He hands his sword to the crowd and calls it kindness. But love bought with meekness is love without respect. And love without respect collapses at the first sign of pressure. Picture a leader facing crisis, rebellion, betrayal, famine, conflict. The people will not support him out of affection. They will support him only if he can protect them, feed them, secure them. If he fails, they will not remember his kindness. They will not speak of his gentle heart. They will blame him. They will curse him. They will deny him, as if they had never praised him at all. The instability of love is rooted in the unstable nature of the human heart. A heart easily warmed is a heart easily chilled. A heart that adores quickly is a heart that forgets quickly. The admiration of the crowd is the cheapest substance known to man, for it requires only the illusion of greatness, not greatness itself. And there is another truth, a truth more bitter. When you seek to be loved, you invite manipulation. People learn your hunger, they learn your weakness, they learn what praise you respond to, and they will feed you just enough affection to keep you obedient. They will applaud you not because they appreciate your strength, but because they fear your independence. To be loved in this way is to live in chains forged by compliments. But observe the man who does not seek love, who does not concern himself with pleasing faces, soft hearts, and warm approval. His voice does not tremble in the presence of judgment. His decisions do not waver when confronted with opposition. He chooses what is effective, not what is adored. He commands respect, even if he does not receive affection. And this respect, unlike love, endures. Let the weak chase applause. Let them gather friends like trinkets. Let them decorate their ego with admiration that disappears as easily as it is given. Let them live with the constant fear. What if they stop liking me? Let them twist themselves into pleasing shapes to avoid the smallest disapproval. The powerful man does not bend for affection. He stands unshaken, even when surrounded by disapproval, and in time even those who dislike him will recognize his strength. For strength commands a deeper respect than love ever could. Respect is the foundation upon which lasting loyalty is built, and loyalty built on respect does not dissolve when storms arrive. It endures, it remains, it does not tremble, it does not betray. If being loved is unstable, then we turn to that which holds its shape under pressure. Fear, not terror, not cruelty for the sake of cruelty, but fear as recognition of strength, fear as acknowledgement of consequence, fear as the understanding that disobedience bears a cost. Men obey not because they feel affection, they obey because they sense unwavering authority. When a man is feared, his presence alone organizes behavior. His silence carries weight. His words do not beg to be acknowledged. They are accepted without debate. Consider the structure of the world. Look at the laws that govern nations, the rules that govern institutions, the hierarchy that governs workplaces, families, armies. Order does not exist because people love the rule. Order exists because there is consequence for violating it. Not one city stands because the citizens have warm feelings for their leaders. They stand because there are repercussions for chaos. The foundation of all stability is not affection. It is fear. Fear is consistent, predictable. It does not sway with mood. It does not depend on convenience. When a person respects you out of fear, they do so even when they are angry, even when they disagree, even when they desire to rebel. Their emotions do not free them from the reality of consequence. But when a person respects you only out of love, the moment their emotions shift, their loyalty vanishes as well. Love is a candle flickering in the wind. Fear is stone. It endures rain, wind, and season. Understand this deeply. When people fear losing your approval, they will still betray you. But when people fear crossing you, they will not. Many misunderstand fear. They imagine the tyrant, the monster, the brute who punishes without care. This is foolish. Cruelty without purpose is not power. It is weakness wearing the costume of strength. The feared man does not need to raise his voice. He does not need to display aggression. He does not need to humiliate or exert physical force. His power lies simply in the certainty that he is not to be trifled with. It is the knowledge that if attacked, he will respond. If disrespected, he will not allow it to pass. If challenged, he will not retreat. This firmness molds behavior without the need for violence. The wise leader does not brandish the sword. He merely lets others know the sword exists and that he is not hesitant to use it, that knowledge alone maintains obedience far better than affection ever could. Think of your own relationships. How many times has someone taken advantage of your kindness? How many times have you given trust to someone who treated it like dust? People respect limits. People respect boundaries. People respect the one who says, "This line will not be crossed." But when you try to be liked, you erase every boundary to accommodate others. And when boundaries are erased, respect disappears with them. Fear is not hostility. Fear is clarity. It communicates, "I will not be used. I will not be diminished. I will not be commanded by those who claim to love me. I am my own authority." In times of peace, love seems pleasant. But peace is a temporary state. Conflict arrives, circumstances change, pressure reveals what emotions conceal. When crisis strikes, people look not to the one they adore, but to the one they believe is strong enough to act. The loved leader is consulted. The feared leader is obeyed. And in moments of danger, obedience saves lives. Obedience secures victory. Obedience prevents collapse. The one who is feared holds the power to command swift, precise action. The one who is loved must negotiate, persuade, plead, and while he pleads, the world burns. The man who seeks to be feared must first conquer his own fear of judgment. For fear begins within. If you fear disapproval, you will bend. If you fear loneliness, you will submit. If you fear conflict, you will compromise. The one who is feared is not cruel to others, he is uncompromising with himself. He has disciplined the instinct to please. He has strangled the desire for external validation. He has learned to stand alone. Once a person realizes you do not crumble under pressure, that you do not negotiate your self-respect, that you do not allow sentiment to weaken your decisions, their behavior changes. They may not like you. They may even resent you. But they will not challenge you without calculation. They will not speak your name lightly. They will not dare to undermine your authority, because the cost of doing so is clear. People may admire the gentle man, they may enjoy the company, the agreeable man, but they follow the man whose presence demands order, and they obey the man whose strength they cannot bend. The feared man may walk alone, but he walks ahead. The loved man walks in a crowd, yet remains behind. There is a quiet chain that binds more men than iron ever has, a chain not forged in fire, but in the heart. It is the desire to be approved of, to be accepted, to be validated. This desire seems harmless. It appears gentle, human, social, and yet, it is the very mechanism by which most people are controlled. To seek approval is to hand others a key to your emotions, to beg for permission to exist. The moment you desire someone's acceptance, they gain power over you. You begin to shape yourself according to their taste. Your speech changes. Your posture changes. Your opinions bend and twist, not to align with truth, but to avoid disapproval. You perform for applause, and you fear silence more than you fear dishonor. This is how the world tames lions into obedient house pets. It is how society manufactures conformity. It rewards compliance with approval, and it punishes individuality with disapproval, like a trainer conditioning an animal. When you do what pleases others, they smile. When you act according to your own will, they frown. And so the masses learn to betray themselves in exchange for the comfort of acceptance. Think of the countless decisions people make, not because they are right, but because they are accepted. They dress not to express identity, but to avoid judgment. They speak with caution, not out of wisdom, but out of fear of offense. They remain silent when they should speak. They follow when they should lead. They apologize for being what they naturally are. When a man depends on approval, he becomes predictable, and a predictable man is easy to control. All one must do is threaten disapproval, and he will fold, he will retreat, he will submit, he will betray his own values to avoid discomfort. The world recognizes this weakness. It exploits it. Employers use it to overwork their workers. Friends use it to manipulate favors. Lovers use it to gain emotional leverage. Politicians use it to silence dissent. Influencers use it to manufacture identity. Entire industries profit off insecurity. Approval is the invisible chain. It is not locked around your wrists. It is wrapped around your self-worth. But the one who does not seek approval is dangerous, because he cannot be controlled through emotion. He does not fear rejection, because he does not rely on others for permission to be himself. He does not fear being disliked, because he does not tie his identity to the reactions of others. Such a man speaks as he wills, acts as he wills, chooses as he wills. This does not make him cruel. It makes him sovereign. He has claimed the throne of his own mind. When a man no longer craves approval, he becomes capable of truth. He can speak it when others whisper. He can act upon it when others hesitate. He can walk a path that is his, even when he must walk it alone. Understand that when you seek to be liked, you are actually offering yourself for sale. You are placing your identity on the market of public opinion and saying, name your price. And they will name the lowest price possible. For that which seeks to be owned is never valued. Approval is not given for free, it is traded. And the cost is your authenticity. Observe how easily others influence the one who needs approval. A single raised eyebrow can silence him. A single glare can redirect his thoughts. A single insult can shatter his confidence. He marches not to the rhythm of his own will, but to the fluctuating mood of others. This is not living, it is performing. But consider the opposite. Consider the man who does not perform, who does not measure his worth by applause, who does not dilute himself to be accepted. When he speaks, his voice carries weight because it is his own. When he decides, his decision stands because it is not dependent on external permission. When he acts, others follow, not because he seeks it, but because authenticity is magnetic. A man who does not need approval cannot be bought. He cannot be bribed with flattery. He cannot be manipulated with guilt. He cannot be influenced by popularity. He cannot be threatened by rejection. He stands in a world of shifting faces and remains unwavering. The desire to be liked is the root of obedience to others. The freedom from that desire is the beginning of obedience to yourself. To understand the weight of greatness, you must understand the value of opposition. A man without enemies is not a man who is loved. He is a man who has never risen high enough to be noticed. He has never stood for anything with force. He has never drawn a line, defended a principle, or threatened the comfort of others. He is invisible, and the invisible are never hated. But the moment you begin to move with purpose, the moment you begin to grow sharper, clearer, more disciplined, the moment you refuse to be ordinary, eyes turn toward you, not eyes of admiration but eyes of scrutiny. People begin to notice what they did not notice before, and some will be disturbed by your ascent because your rise reminds them of their stagnation. Your focus highlights their distraction. Your discipline reveals their lack of commitment. Your hunger exposes their laziness. People do not hate greatness because they cannot understand it. They hate greatness because it forces them to see themselves without illusion. Enemies are not always those who openly strike. Enemies are those who silently resent. Those who watch you with narrowed eyes. Those who speak your name in private with a tone dipped in bitterness. They may smile in your presence, but their hearts burn with quiet jealousy. This jealousy is not born from your harm to them, but from your existence as proof that more is possible than what they have allowed themselves to pursue. Your enemies form themselves naturally, like shadows cast by a rising tower. You do not choose them. Your strength chooses them for you. Consider every figure remembered by history. Their names echo not because they were universally adored, but because they carved themselves into the world despite resistance. Caesar, surrounded by conspirators. Alexander, followed by generals who feared his ambition. Prophets, visionaries, thinkers. All of them walked among those who wished them silenced. Their enemies were the evidence of how deeply they pierced the world. So many people spend their lives trying to avoid conflict, trying to be agreeable, trying to be harmless. They believe that if they do not offend, they will be accepted. But in doing so, they erase the very qualities that would make them unforgettable. If you cause no discomfort, you cause no change. If you disturb nothing, you accomplish nothing. If no one opposes you, then your presence has not been strong enough to matter. Greatness requires friction. Influence requires resistance. Power requires opposition. Those who hate you are not obstacles. They are indicators. They are signposts that you are becoming someone worth noticing. Your enemies reveal your impact. The louder their disapproval, the stronger your presence. The more they speak your name with irritation or envy, the more you have stepped beyond the boundary of the ordinary. The enemy does not rise to challenge those who pose no threat. The enemy rises only when he senses shift, movement, transformation. The existence of opposition is proof of motion. But what is vital is how you respond. A man of weak mind spends his energy defending himself, explaining himself, justifying himself. He fears being misunderstood. He fears being disliked. So he answers every insult, debates every critic, tries to correct every distorted opinion, and in doing so, he kneels. He gives his enemies the nourishment of attention. He feeds them his time, his emotion, his power. A strong man does not explain, he does not justify. He does not lower himself to the battlefield of petty opinion. He remains above it, and in doing so, he demonstrates what his enemies fear, his indifference. For indifference is the purest form of dominance. When you do not react to those who oppose you, they realize they do not control you, and nothing disturbs the weak more than a strength they cannot influence. Enemies are not to be eliminated through argument. They are to be rendered powerless by your continued ascent. And here is the deeper truth. Your enemies help forge you. They force you to sharpen. They force you to focus. They force you to become disciplined where you were careless. They drive you to strengthen where you were soft. The pressure they exert is the pressure that forms clarity, resilience, precision. Without that pressure, you would remain in the soft state of complacency. Your enemies teach you more about yourself than your friends ever could. Friends provide comfort. Enemies provide contrast. And through contrast, you see clearly what you must become. Every attempt to undermine you is a lesson in where you must fortify. Every act of resistance is an invitation to grow sharper. Every whisper of jealousy is a sign that you have stepped into a higher tier of existence. To have enemies is not to fail. To have enemies is to live in a manner that demands acknowledgement. To have enemies is to progress. To have enemies is to rise. There comes a point in every person's life where a decision must be made. Will you live for your own purpose, or will you live according to the expectations of others? The world praises leadership in theory, but resents it in practice. For to lead is to stand apart, to separate yourself from the crowd, to make decisions that others cannot make. And the moment you step above the mass turns its gaze upon you, not with admiration but with suspicion. They begin to whisper, to judge, to resist, and eventually to hate. This hatred is not proof that you are wrong. It is proof that you are no longer one of them. Leadership is not a position, it is a posture, a way of standing in the world that does not bend to the shifting moods of others. And this posture demands something most cannot endure: the willingness to be disliked, the willingness to be misjudged, the willingness to walk forward even while hearing the chorus of voices calling you arrogant, heartless, prideful, intimidating, unkind. Those who lead must accept that they will not be understood, for the leader sees what others do not yet see. He moves toward what others are not yet prepared to reach, and the majority hate what challenges their comfort. They hate what forces them to confront their own limitations. They hate the mirror that reflects their hesitation. The desire to be universally liked is the desire to remain small. The desire to offend no one is the desire to accomplish nothing. Leaders make decisions that disturb those who prefer stagnation. They speak truths that unsettle those who thrive on ease. They commit to a direction that others fear to pursue. And this is why hatred becomes their companion. Hatred is not the enemy of leadership. Indifference is, if no one hates you, you are not leading. You are following the emotional climate of the crowd. Consider the burden of responsibility. When you hold authority over a project, a family, a team, a vision, your decisions are no longer about pleasing feelings. They are about outcomes, and outcomes require clarity, decisiveness, and consistency. These qualities are uncomfortable to those who rely on being told what to do. Those who prefer leadership that is soft, gentle, endlessly understanding, do not want a leader, they want a caretaker. A leader does not exist to soothe. A leader exists to guide, and guidance is rarely embraced without resistance. The world romanticizes leadership in hindsight. It praises those who have already conquered. But during the ascent, during the choices, during the decisive moments, leaders are criticized, judged, doubted, condemned. The crowd only loves a leader once others have already loved him first, once success has been proven, once it is safe. But to lead is to move before there is proof, before it is safe, before there is applause. This is why the leader must be able to withstand hatred. For hatred is simply the noise that arises when others cannot understand what drives you. Being hated does not mean being cruel. Being hated does not mean seeking conflict. Being hated simply means you refuse to betray your principles for approval. It means you choose the correct path over the comfortable one. It means you do not dilute yourself to be digestible. And when you do not dilute yourself, your presence becomes strong enough to threaten those who benefit from weakness. Strength, when displayed sincerely, always disturbs those who have avoided cultivating their own. To lead is to accept that others will project onto you. They will accuse you of intentions you do not have. They will misunderstand your silence. They will misinterpret your firmness. They will call your discipline obsession. They will call your standards cruelty. They will call your independence arrogance. This is the cost of being more than they are willing to be. The leader does not waste breath defending himself. He does not try to persuade those who are determined not to understand. He does not negotiate his purpose to soothe insecurity. He moves, and the world adjusts around him. Leadership is lonely, but loneliness is not emptiness. It is elevation. The air at higher altitudes is thinner because fewer have the lungs to breathe there. Only those who have strengthened themselves internally can remain in such a place. Hatred tests your resolve. It asks, is your purpose stronger than your need for approval? Is your vision stronger than your discomfort? Is your direction stronger than your fear of isolation? If the answer is no, you will descend back into the mass, welcomed by applause that costs you your identity. If the answer is yes, you rise beyond the need to be liked. You rise beyond the emotional governance of others. You rise into a self-defined existence. To lead, one must be willing to walk alone, to be misread, to be doubted, to be disliked, to be hated. This is not tragedy. This is liberation. Now you understand what most will never dare to accept. To crave love is to live on your knees. To seek approval is to surrender your identity. To avoid enemies is to avoid greatness. And to lead is to be willing to stand alone in the storm. You were not born to be agreeable. You were not shaped to fit into the hands of others. You were not meant to dilute yourself, so the world may swallow you easily. Your purpose demands edge. Your destiny requires resistance. Your strength is proven not by how many love you, but by how unshakable you remain when they do not. Let them misunderstand you. Let them resent you. Let them whisper, question, oppose, or condemn. Stand anyway. Move anyway. Rise anyway. For the one who is remembered is not the one who tried to be liked by all, but the one who refused to bow.